Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Sunday morning to you all. I hope you guys are waking up feeling fantastic out there and certainly having a great start to your day. And I hope you all have been having a great weekend out there so far. Thank y'all for tuning in this morning as we try to figure out what's going to happen weather-wise for your Sunday. Today's sort of day one of a pretty active stretch of weather. We have a lot of moisture in the western U.S. this morning, a lot of winds, a lot of high winds out there, a lot of wind alerts that are ongoing right now across the western portion of the country. And we have some moisture that's ongoing sort of on the front end of this system with a developing low pressure across the middle of the country. We'll have a little bit of a severe weather threat today. So we'll speak on it all in this video, but stay tuned for the second half of the video, guys. Tomorrow, unfortunately, looks nasty across areas of the South with a legit severe weather threat that could increase in later outlooks. So we'll get very detailed on that. There is a tornado threat with this. This isn't just one of those events where you have a real threat of just maybe hail or strong winds. There is, unfortunately, a real tornado threat with this across the deep south. So we're going to get detailed with that. We've been very lucky so far this fall with the secondary severe weather season being in the fall. We haven't had anything really, right? Tomorrow looks to be that first real risk day here that we have not seen in the fall so far. So we'll get detailed, and then we'll do it again later this afternoon, this evening. And really in this evening's video, we'll speak on everything coming up because we got, a lot of winds with this system. We could have some, craziness that might happen after Thanksgiving. We need to figure some things out. So we'll do that in this evening's video. So if you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If you guys got anything I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. Appreciate the support. I really do, as we just cruise on through November. So almost to December. It's pretty wild to think about, but let's make sure this is working. It is. So we always start off by looking at water vapor loop. If you look at the wider colors on the screen, most of the time that indicates either some sort of rain, snow, falling out there. And sure enough, we do have rain in the middle of the country right here with a developing low pressure. And then we got a lot of moisture scooting across areas of the western U.S. A lot of strong winds too out here with a system digging in and flying into the western U.S. In the eastern portion of the country, you're pretty good. There's not a whole lot going on. There's a little bit of moisture flying into the northeast, but the weather today will be pretty chill. It really will. Not a whole lot going on. A little bit cooler temperatures, especially for the southeast, but this is what's going on based off water vapor loop right now. You can see the picture decently well. I've seen better. I like to look at the water vapor loop to really show what's going on in the atmosphere. But speaking on what's going on radar, what is actually falling on our heads out there, there's that cluster of rain across the Great Plains. You got heavy rain falling, moderate to heavy rain falling in southern sections of Nebraska, moderate to heavy rain falling in areas of central and sort of east central Kansas, and rain across Oklahoma, with a little bit of storm activity trying to get going across areas of central Texas, but nothing severe or anything like that, but definitely some heavier convection trying to develop down here. We got a lot of moisture across the western U.S. Southern sections, kind of like the southwest, a little bit quieter, not as much in the way of any kind of moisture, but you definitely got it across a lot of states. And, it could get interesting in the higher elevations of Utah throughout the day today into tonight, where we have winter storm warnings up. A little bit of moisture flying into the northeast, maybe in the way of some flurries, light rain showers. Storm Prediction Center today, you got the marginal risk in the middle, basically the heart of Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Norman, all included in this. But I really think today, won't be that bad. I think we need to watch a little bit later tonight for some strong to severe storms across Oklahoma. But the severe weather threat today, it's there, but it's not as high as what it's going to be tomorrow. So we do have the level 1 out of 5 risk, which is a marginal risk right here in Oklahoma. So we'll watch out for some severe storms a little bit later today into tonight. So threat is really just a 5% risk of hail. Everything else, the categories wind and tornado, below 2 and 5%, so it doesn't even show up on the map. But of course, you can't rule it out. Risk of flash flooding is below 5%, so it does not show up on the map. So that's good. There's no huge risk of flash flooding today. And then the watches, warnings, advisories, a lot of wind alerts across the west. We got wind advisories across Nevada, areas of southern Idaho, southern Cal. You got high wind watches, high wind warnings, wind advisories, a few also ongoing in Arizona, southwest areas of Texas. You got the winter storm warnings in pink across Utah. Rain could end as a little bit of snow even in Salt Lake City. Winter weather advisories across the higher elevations of the Sierra Nevada, the Cascades. And if you look really closely right here, kind of hard to see, but on the kind of the western side of the southern Appalachian Mountains in Tennessee, and going to be some strong winds in North Carolina. You have high wind watches. This is ahead of what's to come. They're very confident we are going to have some strong winds. It's basically a big time wind field is going to scoot across areas of the south and the mountains. There's good and bad news with this system. The good is rain is coming to these drought-stricken areas of pretty much everywhere. Okay. The bad news is the winds are out ahead of these rains. So, for example, if you're in the higher elevations of Tennessee, North Carolina, we know, especially Virginia, even in some areas in West Virginia, we've had some wildfires break out. So we've seen it before. Gatlinburg, what was the last day of November 2016? We saw it. System was moving in. The winds were just crazy ahead of this system. You got the wildfires that broke out. So we need to watch out for this, okay? We need to hope that the rain moves in quick behind these strong winds that are going to move in. So hopefully we won't have any wildfires that break out ahead of the rain that is going to follow the big-time wind field. So we'll speak more on that probably tonight. But the Southeast today, quiet day of weather for the immediate Southeast region. Could have some scattered showers that kind of develop over Florida, maybe some light shower activity in areas of Southeast Georgia. But here comes the rain entering the picture here in Arkansas. I'll speak probably more on Arkansas, Louisiana, obviously Oklahoma and Texas, and the South Central frame that we pull up. But, as we're getting later tonight, some light to at times moderate rain begins to take over most of Arkansas, starts to move into western Tennessee, some light rain showers into northern Mississippi, even northwest areas of Alabama later into the wee hours of the morning tonight. And then we wake up with just some potential for some scattered showers tomorrow in the upstate of South Carolina. We'll watch for that. But today is a pretty quiet day of weather across the Southeast. Enjoy it because, the deep South and the Southeast could get much more active tomorrow and then the next day. Up here in the Northeast, some energy will fly through. So, if you're, up in the mountains, for vacation, or you live in the mountains, or whatever you're doing up here, you're probably going to have some snow showers flying around the Adirondacks. Certainly some light, maybe at times a burst of moderate, maybe heavy snow could fly through. So northern sections of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and areas of western and northern Maine, some snow is possible on and off today, this afternoon, into this evening. Just some streamers flying through. And yes, this could add up. Snowfall between now and the next 24 hours. Somebody might get half an inch to an inch, maybe 2 inches of snow, especially in the higher terrain in northern New York and in Vermont, New Hampshire, northern sections of the state. A dusting of snow to maybe 2 inches of snow. It just depends on how high up in elevation you are. If you can get some consistent bands moving over your area, but it could be enough to certainly make the ground white in some of these mountain towns up here in the northern and interior sections of New England. So that's the Northeast. The South Central, this is when things start to get a little bit more active, but then again, not super active. There's that low pressure right here. Okay, this isn't going to immediately eject across the middle of the country. This is going to kind of get lost out there, kind of drift more so eastward, and then another low is probably going to develop. So let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here, but we got rain moving across areas of the plains. We got some rain showers developing, kind of redeveloping over areas of northern Texas, eastern Texas. And then we start to get into later this evening, a lot of widespread rain breaking out across eastern sections of Oklahoma, Kansas. Got some rain moving into western Missouri, western Arkansas. And then as this low sort of begins to dig, and I said a secondary low. That's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say was this low is going to start to dig almost due southeast, okay? Because it's more like, it's kind of like a cutoff low, and which means that it's sort of lost in kind of the southern tier of the country, southern stream. It's not really connected to any northern stream energy, so it's not it's not able to get pulled north yet. Okay, so this will continue to sort of drift kind of east-southeast, if you will. And I really think we'll have a threat of some severe storms like after midnight tonight right here in Oklahoma. You see these kind of yellows, orange, reds popping up here in Oklahoma. If you're in northern Oklahoma, I would, just listen out to some rumbles of thunder overnight. Might get woken up by some thunder, some flashes of lightning overnight. But like I said, I don't think we're going to have a nocturnal severe weather outbreak in Oklahoma tonight. But as we're getting into tomorrow morning, that begins to set the stage. Here's this low coming up. It's already beginning to pull warm, moist air into eastern Texas, Louisiana, and a warm sector really sets up. And everything up here you're waking up to tomorrow morning, just good old-fashioned rain in Kansas City, St. Louis, Columbia, Missouri, the Ozarks, some rain showers in Memphis, Little Rock, Shreveport, very possible that you're waking up to. So rainfall between now and the next 24 hours. I mean, there could be a corridor in northern Oklahoma, an inch and a quarter of rain. And then central to eastern areas of Kansas could certainly see half-inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain. So definitely some appreciable rainfall totals out here for sure are likely at this point. So anything going on in the north central U.S.? Well, kind of the northern extent of this moisture shield gets all the way up into Nebraska. So if you live in the heart of Nebraska, eastern Nebraska, definitely kind of a rainy Sunday today, starting off this morning. You'll be dealing with it throughout the afternoon. You might get breaks here and there, but, if you live in Omaha, Lincoln, you're certainly going to start to see the rain move in this afternoon and really stick around really throughout the overnight hours. And then rain begins to take over a lot of South Dakota, southern areas of North Dakota. And then we start to wake up tomorrow morning, and we're waking up to just some light rain scattered about in central and eastern sections of South Dakota, and then we got some rain in southeast North Dakota, showers scattered about in Nebraska. We're starting to get late, in the year where typically this is more so snow, but it's just a warm system. It's still rain. So rainfall up here in the northern portion of the country, Nebraska, central eastern portion of the state, anywhere from a half-inch to maybe someone squeezes out an inch of rain from this today. So a little bit of rain is possible in South Dakota, and maybe a trace amounts in North Dakota. So some rain is also possible in western sections of Iowa. So western U.S. pretty active today. It's always weird talking about the western U.S. because it's just everywhere, right? But I mean, we're dealing with a lot of moisture this morning. Higher elevation snow, lower elevation. So at times, a wind-driven rain, very, very windy out there, very gusty. But we make our way into this afternoon. Snow levels drop. We could be dealing with a little bit of snow even in these lower elevations in Idaho, some snow in western Montana. It really begins to drop off, the moisture kind of streaming in, but you're still getting a little bit of moisture into the Pacific Northwest, but it certainly begins to drop off this afternoon. Then a lot of moisture begins to take over. Utah even still got lingering moisture in the form of snow in areas of Nevada. And even got some heavier precipitation moving into northern sections of New Mexico and Arizona. And this continues into the overnight hours. And we could get some snow in areas pretty much almost anywhere in Wyoming. By the time we're waking up tomorrow morning, could be a snowy start to your Monday morning in Wyoming for sure. So, how much precipitation in the Pacific Northwest? Same kind of deal. You got the typical rain shadow activity and the valleys between the Cascades and the higher elevations of the Rockies. Same thing with the valley sections right here between these higher mountains right up against the coast and the Cascades. But, if you're obviously going to get the lift that is going to squeeze out all the moisture in the atmosphere in the Cascades. So 1 to 2 inches of moisture. But, as far as looking at snow from this, definitely going to pick it up. You're definitely going to pick up some higher snows. This is between now and tomorrow midday. Anywhere from 8 to 12, 8 to 16 inches of snow, just depending on how high up you are. So, yeah, definitely some snows out there in the Pacific Northwest and those typical higher elevations. Now, we need to speak on everybody else, the Rockies in general. Between now and Monday morning, you're definitely going to get a lot of precipitation driven up and pushed up against these higher elevations of Utah. Idaho, same thing, even a little kind of the same thing happening in Colorado and Arizona and New Mexico, but you're definitely going to get a lot of moisture. But really what's impressive with this is the snow. A lot of snow into Utah. A lot of snow. In fact, we'll actually zoom into Utah here and see what it looks like. If we can get my mouse to work. Man, come on. Here we go. And man, those higher elevations picking up a lot. And like I said, in Salt Lake City, you could switch to a period of snow before this ends, maybe a dusting. Not sure what your locals are calling for in Salt Lake City, but it's definitely possible. That's for sure. But the winds are going to be a big deal. These are max wind gusts based off the HRRR model between now and Monday morning. And, I mean, pick where you're at and check it out. I know this is zoomed out pretty good, but even in these lower elevations, you're going to get some 25 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts. But of course, if you're just a little bit up in elevation with this system moving through, very strong winds, maybe some damaging winds. So, if you're a trucker out here out west and you're cruising really anywhere, expect some gusty winds, especially Nevada, Southern Cal, areas of Utah, pretty much really anywhere, guys. If you're cruising across southern sections of Idaho, Montana, very windy conditions. Temperatures today, the chill was back on for the Northeast. Even just some 20s for highs in these higher elevations, but 30s and 40s, a chilly day across the Northeast. Once you start to get into the Mid-Atlantic, still a chilly day, but warms up. Southeast, cooler than yesterday for sure, but still, definitely above average for some of these areas. 60s and 70s, Deep South, 60s and 70s. In the Ohio Valley, just 50s and 60s for the Midwest, and just continues to be above average in general for everybody. Western U.S., much below average for just about everybody with this system moving in, really pulling down the cold air aloft. And definitely a cold day, cold Sunday, an active, breezy day. With the winds, it's going to feel even colder for a lot of these areas. So chilly day across the West for sure. So let's talk about this system coming in. So we're only going to talk about the severe weather. We'll break every single thing down in tonight, but I really think it's important to mention the severe weather here. So here's our system right here. We'll start off tomorrow morning. There's the low pressure. Okay. And there it is, scooting across Arkansas, northern Louisiana. Where exactly is this low pressure going to be? Well, it's probably going to be somewhere into here. Okay. So this is going to scoot in. And eventually, as you can tell, it ejects across the eastern and central portion of the country, okay? It doesn't do it right here. It doesn't move like that. It waits till it's about right here, and then it begins to move across areas of the Mid-South, things like that. So here it is. There's the low. So as it digs down a little bit, it's going to pull in a lot of moisture, a lot of warm, moist air. So anything south of this low, you're going to have a risk of severe weather. And with a deepening low pressure, a strengthening low pressure, as you can tell, this number is beginning to drop, and in fact, it gets below 1,000 millibars here. You are going to basically get a strengthening wind field, okay, which is going to aid in ingredients for severe weather. So that is our system. There it is. Boom, moving across the country. And this has the chance to definitely bring a lot of heavy rain for certain areas. So, look at this little cold air pocket aloft, bringing a little bit of snow behind this. So I kind of been teasing at that, mentioning a little bit. We'll talk about all the other details on this system tonight, so stay tuned for that. But I really want to speak on my friends here in the South. So tomorrow, but that's the system causing it. What you just saw, that is the system causing the severe weather threat. It's already moving in, and it will really change the weather for tomorrow. Slight risk, right, for eastern Texas into the heart of Mississippi, covering a good portion of Louisiana and all of southern Arkansas, okay? We already have a tornado risk, a 5% risk of a tornado within 25 miles in a given location, okay? The wind threat, 15% risk of winds exceeding 50 knots or higher, okay? That's 55 to 60 miles per hour within 25 miles in a given location. Hail threat, 15% risk of hail, approaching 1 inch in diameter or larger, okay? All right, so what I want you to check this out, and this is available. Just type in Storm Prediction Center, and you'll be able to look at day 2. So this is what concerns me. If you read this right here, okay, it says, a broad slight risk has been maintained with this outlook, which dropped several hours ago. Though a corridor of somewhat greater tornado wind threat may eventually evolve within this area, including the potential for a strong tornado. So what it's basically saying is, we could have a bump up to an enhanced risk, which is a level 3 out of 5, slight level 2 out of 5. So I could see this getting an enhanced risk. I could, and I'm going to talk to you about why here. So what you got going on, if you're new to the channel, and I'm kind of rusty talking about severe weather because we haven't done it in a couple months really, but you got the ingredients for severe weather. The ingredients are what you call thermodynamics and kinematics. Thermodynamics include what kind of moisture level, how high are the dew points, okay? Basically, what's the humidity looking like, okay? Does it feel really moist outside? If it does, check that off the box, okay? Usually in response to high humidity, higher dew points, you have higher CAPE levels. What kind of CAPE levels do you have, okay? Are they like a few hundred joules per kilogram, or are they over 1,000 joules per kilogram? The higher you get, the higher CAPE in the atmosphere. That's a thermodynamic. How high are your temperatures? What about your lapse rates? Let's talk about temperatures. Are your temperatures warming into the 70s and 80s? You can check that off if they are. But you can have severe weather with temperatures only in the upper 60s, low 70s too. Okay? So what about dew points? Okay? These are not temperatures. These are dew points. It's not 19 degrees in North Carolina tomorrow morning. Dew points, you can check this off the box, guys. And if it'll get an emotion for us. All right, here we go. You can check that off the box. Here we go. This is getting into this afternoon. This is getting into tomorrow morning. And look at this. Look at these dew points. You got warm, moist air getting pulled from the Gulf of Mexico down here. Okay. There's the low right here. You see the tightening lines right here. That is our low pressure. Dew points are rising all the way into the low 70s in southern sections of Louisiana, probably into areas of southeast Texas. So you have a lot of low-level moisture building into it. It's going to feel like severe weather across Louisiana, southern Mississippi, eventually into Alabama also. This is your classic cool season warm sector, okay? So check this off the box. Dew points in the 60s and 70s. You got that thermodynamic you're working with, okay? What about CAPE levels? All right, so here it comes in response to these higher level CAPE levels. Sorry I'm having to do that. It just looks like my tabs aren't moving for me, but here we go. Look at this. HRRR model shows this low pressure all the way into Louisiana. I don't know. It's going to be somewhere in Arkansas or northern Louisiana, but here it is. Look at this sector of energy, basically. Think of CAPE as storm energy, okay? And you see this purple pinkish area? You look over here, that's CAPE levels well above 1,000 joules per kilogram, even 1,500 joules per kilogram. So you got higher CAPE levels, higher dew points. Those are both thermodynamics. Check that off the box. A lot of energy in the atmosphere. And I would say if they're going to put an enhanced risk, it's going to be somewhere down into here probably, okay? But, man, a lot of energy in the atmosphere, okay? So what about the wind field with this? And this is probably not going to move for me either, so we're going to have to re-click this. Check this out. There's a low pressure, and look at this wind field beginning to strengthen and broaden, get wider. This is right here at the beginning stages of what's going to cause all these high winds across the Appalachian Mountains. There's the low pressure. Wind field's always just south or southeast or east of this wind, of this low pressure. So here it goes. It's really strengthening here. At this point, across areas of southern Mississippi, southeast Louisiana, guys, with storms in the area, you have basically at least a 50 to 60 knot low-level jet in certain areas, okay? That's winds, moving at just about interstate speed about a mile or above our heads, okay? So that is a kinematic, winds aloft. And so you're going to have a strengthening wind field aloft. This is going to create a spin in the atmosphere, a lot of wind shear. So you're going to have a lot of wind energy for these storms. So that's why you have the risk of, stronger winds. That's why you have that 15% risk of winds exceeding that 55 to 60 miles per hour. And then this continues, guys. Very, very strong winds, I think, overnight, especially just above the surface. It's going to be very windy across areas of Alabama and then Tennessee as we are getting into tomorrow night. And then it gets really windy Tuesday morning. So how can these storms look? How can these storms really unfold tomorrow? Well, here they are. And for you folks in eastern Texas thinking, Mitch, you're leaving us off the screen. Trust me, guys, I'm going to get you guys on the screen, okay? I'm just, you know, if I got detailed on every single thing in these morning videos, man, it would go 40, 45, 50 minutes long. Just going to speak on the areas that I think have the highest threat right now. Okay, here comes these storms entering Louisiana. Here they are. Let's just stop it right here. This is around, oh, come on, line. Okay, here it is. This is an Eastern time. Okay, this is around 4 p.m. Central time. This just looks like a lot of heavy rain, embedded thunderstorm activity in Arkansas to me. But once you start to creep down in here, you have the sector of ingredients that support severe weather. So I don't think you're going to have these supercells that are going to be super discrete. It's going to be like embedded semi-supercells and embedded basically all in this big clunk of convection. And if you do happen to get anything that becomes discrete, that has a higher risk to produce a tornado. So, you know, you stop it here. This is around 6 p.m. The sun is setting across areas of Louisiana, Mississippi. And when you got to worry about Jackson Point South and the Baton Rouge, eventually getting into like Gulfport, you know, even back in Monroe earlier in the period. But these storms are dangerous. I know they don't look like much, but they're taking on that look that you don't like to see, especially right here. You stop it here, it's around 8 p.m. based off the latest HRRR model. Look at these little kidney bean looks with this. That indicates rotating thunderstorms that could produce a tornado. Okay, so this is a little concerning. And you got an ugly looking band of storms moving right over Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and this continues into the overnight hours. I mean, look at these little embedded kidney bean looks. If you don't know what I mean by kidney bean, a lot of times storms that have that hook like that with them, they are the ones that probably have rotation with them. Not necessarily always producing a tornado, but have some sort of rotation and threat to produce a tornado. And yeah, you keep this going, guys. And this is the end of the frame. It's around midnight tomorrow night. And you got a lot of weather beginning to enter Alabama. Okay, I think this begins to lose some steam. But I am concerned about this threat, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a significant tornado parameter. You know, and this is getting into tomorrow evening. It starts to spike to a 4 or 5. And, you know, this doesn't mean there's a 5 out of 10 chance to see a tornado. It just means the higher the number, the better the ingredients to produce a tornado. And, you know, this is scooting across southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi. And, I mean, the tornado threat is still there into southwest Alabama as we're getting into the middle of the night tomorrow night. So we'll get detailed about this again this evening. And we'll continue to try to figure this one out for you. But definitely be on alert if you're across the deep south. That's all I got. God bless all y'all. Have a great Sunday. And I'll talk to you later today.